United States Steel, USS, the industrial family that serves the nation, presents the Theater Guild on the air. Our stars, John Gielgud and his London company. Our play, The Importance of Being Ernest, by Oscar Wilde. Produced on the air tonight by the Theater Guild, one of America's foremost theatrical producers. Every day, everywhere, you are served by products of steel. In your home, in your business, in your travel. The trademark of United States Steel, USS, on any steel product is your guide to quality steel. And now, from Broadway, direct from the stage of the Vanderbilt Theater, the United States Steel Corporation brings you The Importance of Being Ernest by Oscar Wilde. And here is Roger Pryor speaking for the Theater Guild.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight, the Theater Guild takes great pride in presenting a current Broadway hit, John Gielgud's production of The Importance of Being Ernest, Oscar Wilde's wise and witty satire on the artificial manners of his day. This production, with these players, after a sensational success in London, is now playing the standing room only at the Royal Theater in New York, where it was acclaimed by New York drama critics as one of the season's smash hits. And now, Oscar Wilde's famous comedy, The Importance of Being Ernest, starring John Gielgud. It's London in the year 1890. The London of Oscar Wilde and Aubrey Beardsley, of gaslights and hansom cabs, and the strange, exalted creatures, male and female, that inhabit what is known as high society. In a bachelor's flat just off Berkeley Square, an aged manservant knocks at the door of his master's bedroom and enters.
Beg pardon, Mr. Worthing? Beg pardon, sir. You wish to be called at 10:30?
What? Oh, 10:30, so I did. What day is this, Summers?
A Wednesday, sir, and an arduous day it is. Your book is quite overflowing, if I may say so, sir, with engagements of the utmost urgency.
How tiresome. Oh, well, I must be brave about this sort of thing. Tell me the worst.
There's a visit to your bootmakers, sir.
Ah, my bootmakers. What else?
A fitting at your tailor's.
On the same day? How fearfully careless of you, Summers.
After your week in the country and a good night's sleep, I felt you might be up to it, sir.
Well, pray continue.
You are calling on Mr. Algernon Moncrief at his flat in Half Moon Street, sir.
Am I? What on earth for?
It is your intention to propose to his cousin, Miss Gwendolen Fairfax, sir.
Oh, I knew there was something. Thank you, Summers. Just write it all down on a bit of paper for me, will you?
Are the boots quite comfortable, Mr. Worthing?
Yes, quite, thank you.
If you'd be good enough to flex the toes of your left foot.
Sorry, old boy, but I really couldn't. I have an arduous day, you know.
Perhaps, Mr. Worthing, you would care to examine these new woolens, sir.
Too busy. Well, I must be off. Call me a hansom.
But your waistcoats are quite ready for you, sir. The mauve, the dotted fawn, the magenta. Shall I?
Sorry, too tired. Cabby.
Yes, sir. Where to, sir?
Half Moon Street, Piccadilly. Mr. Algernon Moncrief's.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Ernest Worthing.
Hello, Algy, old fellow.
Well, Ernest, what brings you up to town?
Oh, pleasure. What else should bring one anywhere? Eating as usual, I see, Algy.
I believe it is customary in good society to take some slight refreshment at 5 o'clock. Where have you been since last Thursday?
In the country. I came up to town yesterday.
Shropshire?
Oh, yes, of course. Hello, why all these cups? Why cucumber sandwiches? Why such reckless extravagance in one so young? Who is coming to tea?
Oh, merely Aunt Augusta and Gwendolen.
How perfectly delightful.
Yes, that's all very well. But I'm afraid Aunt Augusta won't quite approve of your being here.
May I ask why?
My dear fellow, the way you flirt with Gwendolen is perfectly disgraceful. It's almost as bad as the way Gwendolen flirts with you.
I am in love with Gwendolen. I've come up to town expressly to propose to her.
I thought you'd come up for pleasure. I call that business. And please don't touch the cucumber sandwiches. They are ordered specially for Aunt Augusta.
Well, you've been eating them ever since I arrived.
That is quite a different matter. She is my aunt. Here, have some bread and butter. The bread and butter is for Gwendolen.
And very good bread and butter it is, too.
Well, my dear fellow, you needn't eat as we were going to eat it all. You behave as if you were married to her already. You are not married to her already, and I don't think you ever will be.
Why on earth do you say that?
Well, in the first place, girls never marry the men they flirt with.
Oh, that's nonsense.
And in the second place, I don't give my consent.
Your consent?
My dear fellow, Gwendolen is my first cousin, and before I allow you to marry her, you will have to clear up the whole question of Sicily.
Sicily? What on earth do you mean? I don't know anyone of the name of Sicily.
I have here in my hand the cigarette case you left behind you the last time you dined here.
Well,
the inscription on it reads...
You've no right whatsoever to read what's written inside. It's a very ungentlemanly thing to read a private cigarette case. Just give it back to me, Algy.
According to the inscription, this cigarette case is a present from someone of the name of Cicely.
Well,
I thought you said you didn't know anyone of that name.
Well, if you want to know, Cicely happens to be my aunt.
Your aunt?
Yes, charming old lady she is, too. For heaven's sake, give it back to me, Algy.
But why does she call herself Little Cicely if she's your aunt? From Little Cicely with her fondest love.
My dear fellow, what on earth is there in that? Some aunts are tall, some aunts are not tall. That's a matter that surely an aunt may be allowed to decide for herself.
Ah, yes, but why does your aunt call you her uncle? From Little Cicely with her fondest love to her dear Uncle Jack. Well, there is no objection, I admit, to an aunt being a small aunt, but why an aunt, no matter what her size may be, should call her own nephew her uncle, I can't quite make out. Besides, your name isn't Jack at all. It's Ernest.
It isn't Ernest, it's Jack.
Well, you've always told me it was Ernest. I've introduced you to everyone as Ernest. You look as if your name was Ernest. You're the most earnest-looking person I ever saw in my life.
Well, my name is Ernest in town and Jack in the country. That cigarette case was given me in the country.
Do you know, my dear fellow, I have always suspected you of being a confirmed and secret Bunburyist, and I'm quite sure of it now.
Bunburyist? What on earth do you mean by a Bunburyist?
I'll reveal to you the meaning of that incomparable expression as soon as you are kind enough to explain to me why you are Ernest in town and Jack in the country.
Well, produce my cigarette case first.
Why, here it is. Now, produce your explanation.
Well, old Mr. Thomas Cardew, who adopted me when I was a little boy, made me in his will guardian to his granddaughter, Miss Cicely Cardew. Cicely, who addresses me as our uncle from motives of respect that you could not possibly appreciate, lives at my place in the country under the charge of her admirable governess, Miss Prism.
Where is your place in the country, by the way?
That is nothing to you, dear boy. You are not going to be invited. I may tell you candidly that the place is not in Shropshire.
Oh, I suspected that, my dear fellow. But why are you Ernest in town and Jack in the country?
My dear Algy, when one is placed in the position of guardian, one has to adopt a very high moral tone on all subjects. And so, in order to get up to town for a bit of pleasure, I have always pretended to have a younger brother of the name of Ernest, who lives in London and gets into the most dreadful scrapes. That, my dear Algy, is the whole truth, pure and simple.
The truth is really pure and never simple. What you really are is a Bunburyist. You're one of the most advanced Bunburyists I know.
What on earth do you mean?
You have invented a very useful younger brother, called Ernest, in order that you may be able to come up to town as often as you like. I have invented an invaluable permanent invalid called Bunbury, in order that I may be able to go down into the country whenever I choose. Oh. Bunbury is perfectly invaluable. If it wasn't for Bunbury's extraordinary bad health, for instance, I wouldn't be able to dine with you tonight.
I haven't asked you to dine with me tonight.
I know, you're absurdly careless about sending out invitations. Besides, now that I know you're a confirmed Bunburyist...
I'm not a Bunburyist at all. If Gwendolen accepts me, I'm going to kill my brother. Indeed, I think I'll kill him in any case. Cicely's a little too much interested in him, and I strongly advise you to do the same with Mr. Bunbury.
If I get Aunt Augusta out of the way for 10 minutes so that you can propose to Gwendolen, may I dine with you?
Oh, I suppose so, if you want to. And now that you've eaten all of Aunt Augusta's cucumber sandwiches, will you kindly pass me a piece of Gwendolen's bread and butter?
It's a few minutes later. Lady Bracknell, a rather large and awe-inspiring female, attired in a lorgnette, a purple gown, a feather boa hat with a stuffed owl on it, has arrived with her daughter, Gwendolen Fairfax. Of Miss Fairfax, let it be said that she's young, her wasp waist is incredibly slender, her parasol is pink, and she is beautiful. Lady Bracknell is speaking.
I'm sorry if we're a little late, Algernon, but I was obliged to call on dear Lady Harbury. I hadn't been there since her poor husband's death. I never saw a woman so altered. She looks quite 20 years younger.
I hear her hair's turned quite gold from grief.
It certainly has changed its color. From what cause, I, of course, cannot say. Gwendolen, come here and sit next to me.
Thanks, Mama. I'm quite comfortable where I am, next to Mr. Worthing.
And now, Algernon, I'll have a cup of tea and one of those nice cucumber sandwiches you promised me.
Certainly, Aunt Augusta. Good heavens, there are no cucumber sandwiches. I am greatly distressed, Aunt Augusta.
No, it really makes no matter, Algernon. Oh, by the way, I've quite a treat for you at my little dinner party tonight.
I'm afraid, Aunt Augusta, I shall have to give up the pleasure of dining with you tonight after all.
I hope not, Algernon. It would put my table completely out. Your uncle would have to dine upstairs. Fortunately, he's accustomed to that.
The fact is, I've just had a telegram to say that my poor friend Bunbury is very ill again.
Well, I must say, Algernon, that I think it's high time that Mr. Bunbury made up his mind whether he's going to live or die. This shilly-shallying with the question is absurd.
Algy, don't you think...
Yes, of course, Ernest, yes. Aunt Augusta, I'll run over the music program I've drawn up for your reception next Saturday, if you will be good enough to accompany me into the next room for a moment.
Oh, very well, Algernon. Gwendolen, I shall return in a moment.
Yes, Mamma.
Miss Fairfax, I would like to be allowed to take advantage of Lady Bracknell's temporary absence.
I would certainly advise you to do so, Mr. Worthing. Mamma has a way of coming back suddenly into a room that I've often had to speak to her about.
Miss Fairfax, ever since I met you, I have admired you more than any girl I have ever met. Since I met you.
Yes, I am quite well aware of the fact. And for me, you have always had an irresistible fascination. Even before I met you, I was far from indifferent to you.
But how...
We live, as I hope you know, Mr. Worthing, in an age of ideals. And my ideal has always been to love someone of the name of Ernest. There is something in that name that inspires absolute confidence. The moment Algernon first mentioned to me that he had a friend called Ernest, I knew I was destined to love you.
You really love me, Gwendolen.
Passionately.
Darling, you don't know how happy you've made me.
My own Ernest.
Yes, but you don't mean to say that you couldn't love me if my name wasn't Ernest.
Your name is Ernest.
Yes, I know it is, but personally, darling, to speak quite candidly, I don't think I care very much about the name of Ernest. I don't think the name suits me at all.
It suits you perfectly as a divine name. It has music of its own. It produces vibrations.
Well, really, I must say, I think there are a great many much nicer names. I think Jack, for instance, a charming name.
Jack? No, there's very little music in the name Jack, if any at all, indeed. It does not thrill. It produces absolutely no vibrations.
Gwendolen, I must get christened at once. I mean, we must get married at once. There is no time to be lost.
Married, Mr. Worthing.
Well, surely, you know that I love you. And you led me to believe, Miss Fairfax, that you were not wholly indifferent to me.
I adore you, but you haven't proposed to me yet. Nothing has been said at all about marriage. The subject has not even been touched on.
Well, may I propose to you now?
I think it would be an admirable opportunity. And to spare you any possible disappointment, Mr. Worthing, I think it only fair to tell you, quite frankly, beforehand, that I am fully determined to accept you.
Well, Gwendolen...
Yes, Mr. Worthing, what have you got to say to me?
You know what I've got to say to you.
Yes, but you don't say it.
Gwendolen, my own, on bended knee, I ask you...
Are you on bended knee? So you are. Proceed.
Gwendolen, will you marry me?
Of course I will, darling.
Oh.
How long you have been about it?
Mr. Worthing, rise, sir, from this semi-recumbent posture. It is most indecorous.
Mamma.
Lady Bracknell,
No, Ernest, don't get up. Mamma, I must beg you to retire. This is no place for you. Besides, Mr. Worthing is not quite finished yet.
Finished what, may I ask?
I am engaged to Mr. Worthing, Mamma.
Pardon me, you are not engaged to anyone. When you do become engaged to someone, I, or your father, should his health permit him, will inform you of the fact.
But Lady Bracknell...
As for you, Mr. Worthing, I have a few questions to put to you. You will kindly accompany me into the music room.
But, Mamma...
And you, Gwendolen, will remain here with your cousin Algernon. This way, Mr. Worthing. Mr. Worthing, I feel bound to tell you that you are not down on my list of eligible young men. However, I'm quite ready to enter your name, should your answers be what a really affectionate mother requires. Do you smoke?
Well, yes, I must admit I smoke.
I'm glad to hear it. A man should always have an occupation of some kind. How old are you?
35.
Oh, a very good age to be married. I have always been of opinion that a man who desires to get married should know either everything or nothing. Which do you know?
I know nothing, Lady Bracknell.
I'm pleased to hear it. I do not approve of anything that tampers with natural ignorance. What is your income?
Between £7,000 and £8,000 a year. I have a country house with about 1,500 acres and a townhouse in Belgrave Square.
Now, that is not unsatisfactory. Well, now to minor matters. Are your parents living?
I have lost both my parents.
To lose one parent, Mr. Worthing, may be regarded as a misfortune. To lose both looks like carelessness. your father?
I'm afraid I really don't know. The fact is, Lady Bracknell, I said I had lost both my parents. It would perhaps be nearer the truth to say that my parents seem to have lost me. I don't really know who I am by birth. I was found.
Found?
The late Mr. Thomas Cardew found me and gave me the name of Worthing because he happened to have a first-class ticket for Worthing in his pocket at the time. Worthing is a seaside resort.
Where did the gentleman who had the ticket for this seaside resort find you?
In a handbag.
A handbag?
Yes, Lady Bracknell, I was in a handbag. A somewhat large black leather handbag with handles to it. An ordinary handbag, in fact.
In what locality did this Mr. Cardew come across this ordinary handbag?
In the cloakroom at Victoria Station. It was given to him in mistake for his own.
The cloakroom at Victoria Station?
Yes, the Brighton line.
The line is immaterial. Mr. Worthing, I confess I feel somewhat bewildered by what you have just told me. To be born, or at any rate bred in a handbag, whether it had handles or not, seems to me to display a contempt for the ordinary decencies of family life that reminds one of the worst excesses of the French Revolution.
I ask you then what you would advise me to do?
Do? Well, I would strongly advise you, Mr. Worthing, to make a definite effort to produce at any rate one parent of either sex before the social season is quite over.
But...
Good morning, Mr. Worthing.
What's the matter?
Oh.
Didn't he go off all right, old boy?
Well, as far as Gwendolyn's concerned, we're engaged. But her mother is perfectly unbearable. You don't think there's any chance of Gwendolyn becoming anything like her mother in about 150 years, do you, Algy?
All women become like their mothers. That is their tragedy. No man does. That's his.
Is that clever?
It's perfectly phrased. By the way, did you tell Gwendolyn the truth about your being Ernest in town and Jack in the country?
My dear fellow, the truth isn't quite the sort of thing one tells to a nice, sweet, refined girl.
But what about your brother? What about the profligate Ernest?
Oh, I shall say he died suddenly in Paris of a severe chill. That gets rid of him.
But I thought you said that Miss Cardew was a little too much interested in your poor brother Ernest. Won't she feel his loss a good deal?
Oh, Cicely isn't a silly, romantic girl at all, I'm glad to say. She goes for long walks and pays no attention at all to her lessons.
I would rather like to see Cicely.
I shall take very good care you never do. She's excessively pretty and she's only just 18.
Have you told Gwendolyn yet that you have an excessively pretty ward who is only just 18?
Oh, one doesn't blurt these things out to people. Gwendolyn and Cicely are perfectly certain to be great friends. I bet you anything you like that half an hour after they've met, they'll be calling each other sister.
Women only do that when they've called each other a lot of other things first. Oh, by the way, what did you say was your address in the country?
I didn't say. And I've no intention of saying. Not to you, dear boy.
Ernest, my own...
Gwendolyn, upon my word.
Algy, kindly turn your back. I've something very particular to say to Mr. Worthing.
Really, Gwendolyn, I don't think I can allow this at all.
Turn your back, I said. Thank you. Ernest, we may never be married.
Oh.
From the expression on Mamma's face, I fear we never shall. But although she may prevent us from becoming man and wife, and I may marry someone else, and marry often, nothing that she can possibly do can alter my eternal devotion to you.
Dear Gwendolyn.
The story of your romantic origin, as related to me by Mamma with unpleasing comments, has naturally stirred the deeper fibers of my nature. Your Christian name has an irresistible fascination. The simplicity of your character makes you exquisitely incomprehensible to me. Your London address I have. What is your address in the country?
The Manor House, Woolton, Hertfordshire.
The Manor House, Woolton, Hertfordshire. It may be necessary to do something desperate. I will communicate with you daily. Algy, you may turn round now.
Thanks, I've turned round already.
I must go. Mamma is waiting for me.
You will let me see you to your carriage, my own darling.
Goodbye, Algy. Come, my darling.
Lane!
Yes?
Tomorrow, Lane, I am going Bunburying.
Yes.
I shall probably not be back till Monday. You can put up my dress clothes, my smoking jacket, and all the Bunbury suits.
Yes, sir. And what address will find you, sir?
The Manor House, Woolton, Hertfordshire. And by the way, Lane.
Yes, sir?
I have just thought of an innovation. This time, I am not using my own name.
Yes, sir. What name are you using, sir?
Worthing. Mr. Ernest Worthing. You quite understand that, Lane?
Yes, sir. You are Mr. Ernest Worthing at the Manor House, Woolton, Hertfordshire.
That is quite right.
You are listening to The Importance of Being Earnest, produced by the Theater Guild on the Air and presented by the United States Steel Corporation. And here speaking for United States Steel is George Hicks.
Good evening. Do you and your family want to live more comfortably and more safely and do it for less money per year? Of course you do. Well, that's exactly what the United States Steel Corporation's ever-increasing program of research and technological activity is designed to help you do. As the corporation's recently issued 1946 annual report points out, the basic purpose of all U.S. Steel's research effort is to develop ever better steels and products of steel for you, the American consumer. In 1946, U.S. Steel's research and development work was concerned primarily with the application of materials, processes, and techniques developed during the war to the needs of our nation in peace. Sought for were ways to make better steels for automobiles, washing machines, refrigerators, and thousands of other consumer articles. Better steels in the field of transportation, where the reduction of weight without sacrifice of strength and durability is so important. Better stainless and heat-resisting steels, especially for those for service at extremely high temperatures. And myriad improvement studies on ore, coal, and other raw materials are now underway throughout the corporation's plants and laboratories. In addition to these research activities, U.S. Steel's personnel worked hard throughout 1946 and continues to work hard today on scores of other important related problems, such as making steel easier to machine, better tin plate for food containers, improving strip steel for razor blades and wire products for magnetic sound recorders. Other research activities include the evaluation of new tools, such as the use of supersonic sound waves, the spectroscope, and the electron microscope. Yes, ever since its foundation back in 1901, the United States Steel Corporation has given research and development work a very important place in its overall plan of operations. Today and tomorrow, as in the past, these activities of the laboratories and testing plants will continue to play their indispensable part in the affairs of the industrial family that serves you and the nation, United States Steel.
We pause now for station identification.
You are listening to KECA Los Angeles.
You are listening to the Theater Guild on the Air, presented by the industrial family that serves the nation, United States Steel.
And now the curtain rises on the second act of The Importance of Being Earnest, starring John Gielgud and his London company. It's the following day. Algernon Moncrief, masquerading as Jack Worthing's mythical brother Ernest, has, just a moment ago, arrived at the Manor House, Woolton, Hertfordshire. Seated in the rose garden under a yew tree is the lovely Miss Cicely Cardew, Jack Worthing's ward. As the church bells toll in the distance, Cicely bends over her diary, writing furiously. The door to the house opens, and Merriman, the butler, appears.
Beg pardon, Miss Cicely.
Yes, Merriman, what is it?
Mr. Ernest Worthing has just driven over from the station. He has brought his luggage with him.
Uncle Jack's brother. Did you tell him Uncle Jack was in town and is not expected till Monday?
Yes, miss. He seemed very much disappointed. He said he was anxious to speak to you privately for a moment.
Ask Mr. Ernest Worthing to come out here.
Yes, miss.
I have never met any really wicked person before. I feel rather frightened. I'm so afraid he looked just like everyone else. He does.
You are my little cousin Cicely, I'm sure.
You are under some strange mistake. I'm not little. In fact, I believe I'm more than usually tall for my age. But I am your cousin Cicely. And you are Uncle Jack's brother, my cousin Ernest. My wicked cousin Ernest.
Oh, I'm not wicked at all, Cousin Cicely. You mustn't think that I am wicked.
If you are not, then you've certainly been deceiving us all in a very inexcusable manner.
Oh. Well, of course, I have been rather reckless. In fact, I've been very bad in my own small way.
I'm glad to hear it.
And that is why I have come down here. I want you to reform me. You might make that your mission if you don't mind, Cousin Cicely. You know, I feel better already.
You are looking a little worse.
That's because I'm hungry.
How thoughtless of me. Won't you come inside?
Thank you. What a lovely garden. Might I have a buttonhole? I never have any appetite unless I have a buttonhole.
Certainly. A white carnation?
No, I'd sooner have a pink rose.
Why?
Because you are like a pink rose, Cousin Cicely. You are the prettiest girl I ever saw.
I don't think it can be right for you to talk to me like that. Miss Prism never says such things to me.
Miss Prism?
My governess. There she is, coming up through the garden with Dr. Chasuble, the rector. Shall we go indoors?
With pleasure. By the way, do you happen to have any cucumber sandwiches? I'm very fond of cucumber sandwiches.
Oh, do not speak slightingly of the 3-volume novel, dear Dr. Chasuble. I wrote such a work of fiction myself in earlier days.
Did you really, Miss Prism? I hope it did not end happily.
The good ended happily and the bad unhappily. That is what fiction means. You are too much alone, dear Dr. Chasuble. You should get married.
My dear Miss Prism.
Rightness can always be trusted, dear doctor. Young women are green.
I beg your pardon.
Well, I spoke horticulturally, of course. My metaphor was drawn from fruits. Is that not someone at the garden gate?
Yes, it seems to be. Why, it's Miss Cardew's guardian, Mr. Jack Worthing. What can have happened?
That crepe hatband, those black gloves, that tightly rolled umbrella. Why, he is in mourning, in deepest mourning.
Oh, my poor friend. How slowly he approaches.
Miss Prism, Dr. Chasuble, you are, I hope, well.
Dear Mr. Worthing, I trust this garb of woe does not betoken some terrible calamity.
My brother.
More shameful deaths and extravagance?
Still leading his life of pleasure? Your brother Ernest dead?
Quite dead.
What a lesson for him. I trust he will profit by it.
Poor Ernest. He had many faults, but it is a sad, sad blow.
Very sad indeed. Were you with him at the end?
No, he died abroad. In Paris, in fact, of a severe chill. I had a telegram last night from the manager of the Grand Hotel.
Dear Mr. Worthing, you would no doubt wish me to make some slight allusion to this tragic domestic affliction next Sunday.
You are too kind.
My sermon on the meaning of the manna in the wilderness can be adapted to almost any occasion, joyful or, as in the present case, distressing. I have preached it at harvest festivals, confirmations, christenings.
Ah, that reminds me. I suppose you know how to christen all right. I mean, of course, you are continually christening, aren't you?
It is, I regret to say, one of the rector's most constant duties in this parish. I have often spoken to the poorer classes on the subject, but they don't seem to know what thrift is.
But surely, Mr. Worthing, you have been christened already.
I don't remember anything about it. Do you think I'm too old now, Doctor?
Not at all. The sprinkling and indeed the immersion of adults.
Immersion?
Oh, you need have no apprehension. Sprinkling is all that is necessary. Or indead, I think advisable. Our weather is so changeable. At what hour would you wish the ceremony performed?
Oh, I might trot round about 5:30 if that would suit you.
Perfectly, perfectly. And now, dear Mr. Worthing, I will not intrude any longer in this house of sorrow. I would merely beg you not to be too much bowed down by grief. What seem to us bitter trials
Uncle
at the
Jack.
moment.
Oh, I am pleased to see you back. But what horrid clothes you have on.
My child, my child.
Uncle Jack, I have such a surprise for you. Who do you think is in the dining room? Your brother.
Who? What nonsense. I haven't got a brother.
Oh, don't say that. However badly he may have behaved to you in the past, he is still your brother. Cousin Ernest. Cousin Ernest.
Here I am. Hello, Brother Jack.
Good heavens, you. Go away.
Brother Jack, I have come down from town to tell you that I am very sorry for all the trouble I have given you, and that I intend to lead a better life in future. Will you shake hands?
Certainly not.
Uncle Jack, you're not going to refuse your own brother's hand.
Nothing will induce me to take his hand. I think his coming down here disgraceful. He knows perfectly well why.
Uncle Jack, do be nice. There is some good in everyone. Ernest has just been telling me all about his poor invalid friend, Mr. Bunbury, whom he goes to visit so often.
Oh, he's been talking to you about Bunbury, has he? Well, I won't have him talk to you about Bunbury or about anything else. It's enough to drive one perfectly frantic.
Uncle Jack, if you don't shake hands with Ernest, I will never forgive you. Never.
Well, this is the last time I shall ever do it. How do you do?
It is pleasant, is it not, to see so perfect a reconciliation.
I think we might now leave the two brothers together. Cicely, you will come into the house with us.
Certainly, Miss Prism. My little task of reconciliation is over, and I feel very happy.
Algy, you young scoundrel, you're going to get out of this place as soon as possible. I'm not going to have any bunburying here. What are you sitting down for?
Cicely is a darling.
You're not to talk about Miss Cardew like that. I don't like it.
Well, I don't like your clothes. You look perfectly ridiculous in them. It's perfectly childish to be in deep mourning for a man who is actually staying for a whole week with you in your house as a guest. I call it grotesque.
You're certainly not staying with me in my house for a week as a guest or anything else. You're going to leave by the 4:25 train.
I certainly won't leave you so long as you're still in mourning. It would be most unfriendly.
You are going to leave by the 4:25 train. I am now going indoors to order the dog cart to take you to the station. This bunburying, as you call it, has not been a great success for you.
I think it's been a great success. I'm in love with Cicely, and that is everything. But I must see her again before I go and make arrangements for another Bunbury. Why, Cicely?
Oh, I nearly came back to water the roses. I thought you were with Uncle Jack.
He's gone to order the dog cart for me. He's sending me away.
Oh.
Cousin Cicely, before I go, I hope I shall not offend you if I state quite frankly and openly that you seem to me to be in every possible way the visible personification of absolute perfection.
I think your frankness does you great credit, Ernest. If you will allow me, I will copy your remarks into my diary.
Do you really keep a diary?
Certainly. The visible personification of absolute perfection. Pray continue.
Cicely, ever since I first looked upon your wonderful and incomparable beauty, I have dared to love you wildly, passionately, devotedly, hopelessly.
Hopelessly? That doesn't seem to make much sense, does it?
Pardon, miss.
Yes, Merriman, what is it?
The dog cart is waiting, miss.
Tell her to come round next week at the same hour.
Yes.
Uncle Jack would be very much annoyed if he knew you were staying on until next week at the same hour.
Oh, I don't care about Jack. I don't care for anybody in the whole world but you. I love you, Cicely. You will marry me, won't you?
You silly boy, of course. Why, we've been engaged for the last 3 months.
For the last 3 months? But how did we become engaged?
Well, ever since dear Uncle Jack first confessed to us that he had a younger brother who was very wicked and bad, you, of course, have formed the chief topic of conversation between myself and Miss Prism. I dare say it was foolish of me, but I fell in love with you, Ernest.
Darling. And when was the engagement actually settled?
On the 14th of April last. Worn out by your entire ignorance of my existence, I determined to end the matter one way or the other. And after a long struggle with myself, I accepted you. The other day I bought this little ring in your name.
Did I give you this? Why, it's very pretty, isn't it?
Yes, you wonderfully good taste, Ernest. I hope your hair curls naturally, does it?
Yes, darling, with a little help from others. You'll never break off our engagement, will you, Cicely?
I don't think I could break it off now that I've actually met you. Besides, of course, there is the question of your name.
My name? Oh, yes, of course.
You mustn't laugh at me, darling, but it had always been a girlish dream of mine to love someone whose name was Ernest. There's something in that name that seems to inspire absolute confidence. I pity any poor married woman whose husband is not called Ernest.
But my own dear child, do you mean to say you could not love me if I had some other name?
But what name?
Well, any name you like. Algernon, for instance. Cicely, if my name was Algy, couldn't you love me?
I might respect you, Ernest. I might admire your character. But I fear that I should not be able to give you my undivided attention.
Cicely, your rector here is, I suppose, thoroughly experienced in the practice of all the rites and ceremonials of the church?
Oh, yes.
I must see him at once on the most important christening. The most important business. I shan't be away for more than half an hour.
Couldn't you make it 20 minutes?
I'll be back in no time.
What an impetuous boy he is. I like his hair so much. I must enter his proposal in my diary.
Miss Gwendolen Fairfax is calling to see Mr. Worthing, miss.
Isn't Mr. Worthing in his library, Merriman?
Mr. Worthing went over in the direction of the rectory some time ago.
Miss Fairfax, pray ask the lady to come out here in the garden. And you may bring tea, Merriman.
Yes, miss. This way, Miss Fairfax.
How do you do? Pray let me introduce myself to you. My name is Cicely Cardew.
Cicely Cardew. What a very sweet name. I like you already more than I can say. My first impressions of people are never wrong. I may call you Cicely, may I not?
With pleasure.
And you will always call me Gwendolen, won't you?
If you wish.
Then that is all quite settled, is it not?
I hope so. Won't you sit down?
Thank you. You are here on a short visit, I suppose?
Oh, no, I live here.
Really? Your mother, no doubt, or some female relative of advanced years resides here also.
Oh, no, I have no mother, nor, in fact, any relation.
Indeed.
My dear guardian, with the assistance of Miss Prism, has the arduous task of looking after
Your
me.
guardian?
Yes, I'm Mr. Worthing's ward.
Oh? Strange. He never mentioned to me that he had a ward. How secretive of him. He grows more interesting hourly. But, Cicely, I am bound to state that now I know that you are Mr. Worthing's ward, I cannot help expressing a wish that you were Well, just a little older than you appear to be, and not quite so very alluring in appearance. Of course, Ernest has a strong, upright nature. He is the very soul of truth and honor.
I beg your pardon, Gwendolen. Did you say Ernest?
Yes.
Oh, but it is not Mr. Ernest Worthing who is my guardian. It is his brother, his elder brother.
Ernest never mentioned to me that he had a brother. You are quite sure that it is not Mr. Ernest Worthing who is your guardian?
Quite sure. In fact, I am going to be his.
I beg your pardon.
Dearest Gwendolen, there is no reason why I should make a secret of it to you. Mr. Ernest Worthing and I are engaged to be married.
My darling Cicely, I feel there must be some slight error. Mr. Ernest Worthing is engaged to me.
I'm afraid you must be under some misapprehension. Ernest proposed to me exactly 10 minutes ago.
It's certainly very curious, for he asked me to be his wife yesterday afternoon at 5:30. I am so sorry, dear Cicely, if this is any slight disappointment to you, but I am afraid that I have the prior claim.
It would distress me more than I can tell you, dear Gwendolen, if it caused you any mental or physical anguish. But I feel bound to point out that since Ernest proposed to you, he clearly has changed his mind.
If the poor fellow has been entrapped into any foolish promise, I shall consider it my duty to rescue him at once and with a firm hand.
Whatever unfortunate entanglement my dear boy may have got into, I will never reproach him with it after we're married.
Do you allude to me, Miss Cardew, as an entanglement? You are presumptuous.
Do you suggest, Miss Fairfax, that I entrapped Ernest into an engagement? How dare you? This is no time for wearing the shallow mask of manners. When I see a spade, I call it a spade.
I am glad to say that I have never seen a spade. It is obvious that our social spheres have been widely different.
Beg pardon, miss.
Yes, Merriman, what is it?
The tea, miss. Shall I lay it here, as usual?
Yes, as usual. May I offer you some tea, Miss Fairfax?
Thank you.
Sugar?
No, thank you. Sugar is not fashionable any longer.
Really? Cake or bread and butter?
Bread and butter, please. Cake is rarely seen in the best houses nowadays.
Merriman, hand that to Miss Fairfax.
Thank you. Miss Cardew, you have filled my tea with lumps of sugar. And though I asked you most distinctly for bread and butter, you have given me cake. I am known for the sweetness of my nature and the extraordinary gentleness of my disposition. But I warn you, Miss Cardew, you may go too far.
To save my poor, innocent, trusting boy from the machinations of any other girl, there are no lengths to which I would not go.
Gwendolen.
Ernest, my own Ernest.
Gwendolen, darling.
One moment, may I ask, are you engaged to be married to this young lady?
To dear little Cicely? Of course not. What could have put such an idea into your pretty little head?
Thank you. You may kiss me.
I knew there must be some misunderstanding, Miss Fairfax. The gentleman whose arm is at present round your waist is my dear guardian, Mr. Jack Worthing.
I beg your pardon.
This is Uncle Jack.
Jack? Oh.
Cicely, darling.
This is Ernest.
Cicely, my own love.
A moment, Ernest. May I ask you, are you engaged to be married to this young lady?
What young lady? Good heavens, Gwendolen.
Yes, to good heavens, Gwendolen. I mean to Gwendolen.
Well, of course not. What could have put such an idea into your pretty little head?
Thank you. You may kiss me.
I felt there must be some slight error, Miss Cardew. The gentleman who is now embracing you is my cousin, Mr. Algernon Moncrief.
Algernon Moncrief? Oh. Are you called Algernon?
I cannot deny it.
Oh. Is your name really Jack?
I could deny it if I liked. I could deny anything if I liked. But my name certainly is Jack. It has been Jack for years.
A gross deception has been practiced on both of us.
My poor, wounded Cicely.
My sweet, wronged Gwendolen.
Come, Cicely. Let us go into the house. They will hardly venture to come after us there.
No. Men are so cowardly, aren't they?
Algernon. This ghastly state of affairs is what you call bunburying, I suppose.
Yes, and a perfectly wonderful Bunbury it is.
Well, the only small satisfaction I have in the whole of this wretched business is that your friend Bunbury is quite exploded. You won't be able to run down into the country quite so often as you used to, dear Algernon.
Your brother is a little off colour, isn't he, dear Jack? You won't be able to disappear to London quite so frequently as your wicked custom was. Ah, muffins. Delicious. Ah.
How you can sit there, calmly eating muffins when we're in this horrible trouble I can't make out. You seem to me to be perfectly heartless.
What? I can't eat muffins in an agitated manner. The butter would probably get on my cuffs. One should always eat muffins quite calmly. Jack, don't touch the muffins. I'm quite sure dearest Cicely put them there for me.
Algy, I wish to goodness you would go.
You can't possibly ask me to go. I have just made arrangements with Dr. Chasuble to be christened at 5:45 under the name of Ernest.
My dear fellow, the sooner you give up all that nonsense, the better. I made arrangements with Dr. Chasuble this morning to christen myself at 5:30, and I shall naturally take the name of Ernest. You can't both be christened Ernest, that's absurd.
Jack, you're at the muffins again. I wish you wouldn't. I told you I was particularly fond of muffins.
Algernon! I've already told you to go. I don't want you here. Why don't you go?
I haven't quite finished my tea yet, and there is still one muffin left.
You are listening to The Importance of Being Earnest, produced by the Theater Guild on the Air and presented by the United States Steel Corporation. And here again, speaking for United States Steel, is George Hicks.
At this very moment, a stout little ship named the Mackinaw is working valiantly to clear the way for spring on the Great Lakes. The Mackinaw is a Coast Guard icebreaker, and for days she's been struggling to break through the heavy ice fields which lock up the Great Lakes every winter. This year, the ice has been unusually thick, but the icebreaker is plowed through the Straits of Mackinac at the head of Lake Michigan, into Lake Huron, and through the vital Sioux Canal. Now she's crashing through the huge ice fields of Whitefish Bay and Lake Superior. Ships already have started moving through the Sioux Canal, and during the coming season, the Sioux will handle more tonnage than the Panama and Suez Canals combined. Many of the ships which will go through the Sioux Canal will be from the fleets of the Pittsburgh Steamship Company and the Bradley Transportation Company, members of the United States Steel family. During the past few days, ships of these inland fleets have left their winter berths to begin their annual job of carrying iron ore and limestone from the mines and quarries of Minnesota and Michigan to steel mills in Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. The big, powerful ships of these fleets are the most modern design, and in their holds they carry the raw materials of steel, the rich red iron ore, the white limestone, which are taken by the steel mills and transmuted into the strength of America. During last season, the 63 ships of the Pittsburgh Steamship Company and the 6 ships of the Bradley Transportation Company carried over 34 million tons of cargo, and this year will carry as much or more. Transporting those raw materials, and in tremendous quantities, is the principal job of the Pittsburgh Steamship Company and the Bradley Transportation Company. Doing all the many things necessary to make the steel America needs is the major job done by the industrial family that serves the nation, United States Steel.
You are listening to the Theater Guild on the Air, presented by the United States Steel Corporation.
And now the curtain rises on the third act of The Importance of Being Earnest, starring John Gielgud and his London company. It's a few minutes later. Cicely and Gwendolyn are seated on the mahogany love seat in the drawing room. Facing them, but some distance away, on the carved rosewood sofa, are Algernon and Jack. They've been regarding each other in silence for some time. Finally, Cicely speaks.
Mr. Moncrief, kindly answer me the following question. Why did you pretend to be my guardian's brother?
In order that I might have an opportunity of meeting you.
That certainly seems a satisfactory explanation, does it not, dear Gwendolyn?
Yes, dear, if you can believe him.
I don't. But that does not affect the wonderful beauty of his answer.
Mr. Worthing, what explanation have you to offer me for pretending to have a brother? Was it in order that you might have an opportunity of coming up to town to see me as often as possible?
Can you doubt it, Miss Fairfax?
I have the gravest doubts upon the matter, but I intend to crush them. Cicely, their explanations appear to me to be quite satisfactory, especially Mr. Worthing's. That seems to me to have the stamp of truth upon it.
I am more than content with what Mr. Moncrief said.
Then you think we should forgive them?
Yes. I mean, no.
True, I had forgotten there are principles at stake which one cannot surrender. But which of us should tell them? The task is not a pleasant one.
Could we not both speak at the same time?
An excellent idea. I nearly always speak at the same time as other people. Will you take the time from me, Cicely?
Certainly.
Very well. 1, 2. Your Christian names are still an insuperable barrier. That is all.
Christian names? Is that all? But we are going to be christened this afternoon.
Mr. Worthing, for my sake, you are prepared to do this terrible thing.
I am.
Mr. Moncrief, to please me, you are ready to face this fearful ordeal.
I am.
Darling, you may kiss me. And you, Mr. Worthing, may kiss me.
Darling.
Lady Bracknell is here, sir.
Good heavens.
Gwendolen, what does this mean?
Merely that I am engaged to be married to Mr. Worthing, Mamma.
Come here. Sit down. Sit down immediately. And you, Mr. Worthing, stay where you are.
Lady Bracknell, I am engaged to marry your daughter.
You are nothing of the kind, sir. And now as regards Algernon. Algernon.
Yes, Aunt Augusta.
May I ask if it is in this house that your invalid friend, Mr. Bunbury, resides?
Oh, no, Bunbury doesn't live here. Bunbury is somewhere else at present. In fact, Bunbury is dead.
Dead? His death must have been extremely sudden. What did he die of?
Bunbury? Oh, he was quite exploded.
Exploded? Was he the victim of a revolutionary outrage? I was not aware that Mr. Bunbury was interested in social legislation. If so, he is well punished for his morbidity.
My dear Aunt Augusta, I mean he was found out. The doctors found out that Bunbury could not live. That is what I mean. So Bunbury died.
He seems to have had great confidence in the opinion of his physicians. And now may I ask, Mr. Worthing, who is that young person whose hand my nephew Algernon is now holding in what seems to me a peculiarly unnecessary manner?
That young lady is Miss Cicely Cardew, my ward.
I'm engaged to be married to Cicely, Aunt Augusta.
I beg your pardon?
Mr. Moncrief and I are engaged to be married, Lady Bracknell.
I do not know whether there is anything peculiarly exciting in the air of this particular part of Hertfordshire, but the number of engagements that go on seems to me to be considerably above the proper average that statistics have laid down for our guidance. Mr. Worthing, is Miss Cardew at all connected with any of the larger railway stations in London?
Lady Bracknell, Miss Cicely Cardew is the granddaughter of the late Mr. Thomas Cardew.
How interesting. Come, Gwendolen, the time approaches for our departure.
Yes, Mamma.
As a matter of form, Mr. Worthing, I had better ask you if Miss Cardew has any little fortune.
Oh, about £130,000, that is all. Goodbye, Lady Bracknell. So pleased to have seen you.
A moment, Mr. Worthing. £130,000. Gwendolen, sit down.
Yes, Mamma.
Miss Cardew seems a most attractive young lady now that I look at her. Oh, well, I suppose I must give my consent. Cicely, you may kiss me.
I beg your pardon for interrupting you, Lady Bracknell, but this engagement is quite out of the question. I am Miss Cardew's guardian, and she cannot marry without my consent until she comes of age. That consent I positively decline to give.
Upon what grounds, may I ask?
It pains me very much to have to speak to you frankly, Lady Bracknell, about your nephew Algernon. But the fact is I do not approve at all of his moral character. I suspect him of being untruthful.
Untruthful? My nephew Algernon? Impossible. He was at Oxford.
This afternoon, during my temporary absence in London, he gained admission to my house by means of a false pretense of being my brother. In the course of his disgraceful deception, he succeeded in alienating the affections of my only ward. He subsequently stayed to tea and devoured every single muffin.
Mr. Worthing, after careful consideration, I have decided entirely to overlook my nephew's conduct to you.
That is very generous of you, Lady Bracknell. My own decision, however, remains unalterable. I decline to give my consent.
Cicely, how old are you, sweet child?
18, Lady Bracknell.
18. Well, it will not be very long before you are of age. And so I don't think your guardian's consent is a matter of any importance.
Pray excuse me, Lady Bracknell, for interrupting you again, but it is only fair to point out to you that according to the terms of her grandfather's will, Miss Cardew does not come legally of age until she is 35.
35? Cicely, is this true?
Yes, Lady Bracknell. Algy, could you wait for me till I was 35?
Of course I could, Cicely. You know I could.
Well, I couldn't. I hate waiting even 5 minutes for anybody. It always makes me rather cross.
Then what is to be done, Cicely?
I don't know.
My dear Mr. Worthing, as Miss Cardew states positively that she cannot wait until she is 35, a remark which I am bound to say seems to me to show a somewhat impatient nature. I would beg of you to reconsider your decision.
But my dear Lady Bracknell, the matter is entirely in your own hands. The moment you consent to my engagement to Gwendolen, I will most gladly permit your nephew to form an alliance with my ward.
You can hardly imagine, sir, that I and Lord Bracknell would dream of allowing our only daughter, a girl brought up with the utmost care, to marry into a cloakroom and form an alliance with a parcel.
Then a passionate celibacy is all that any of us have to look forward to.
Dr. Chasuble.
Everything is quite ready for the christenings.
The christening, sir? Is not that somewhat premature?
Both these gentlemen have expressed a desire for immediate baptism.
At their age? Algernon, I forbid you to be baptized. I will not hear of such excesses.
Am I to understand, then, that there are to be no christenings at all this afternoon?
I hardly think that as things are now, it would be of much practical value to either of us, Dr. Chasuble.
Then, if you would excuse me, Mr. Worthing, I will return to the church at once. I have just been informed that for the last hour and a half, Miss Prism has been waiting for me in the vestry.
Miss Prism? Dr. Chasuble, did I hear you mention a Miss Prism?
Yes, Lady Bracknell.
Pray allow me to detain you for a moment. This matter may prove to be one of vital importance to Lord Bracknell and myself. Is this Miss Prism a female of repellent aspect remotely connected with education?
She is the most cultivated of ladies and the very picture of respectability.
It is obviously the same person. Let her be sent for.
Dr. Chasuble.
She approaches. She is nigh.
I was told you were expecting me in the vestry, dear doctor. I have been waiting for you.
Prism.
Lady Bracknell.
Come here, Prism. Prism, come here.
Oh.
Prism, where is that baby?
A baby?
34 years ago, Prism, you left Lord Bracknell's house in charge of a perambulator that contained a baby of the male sex. You never returned. A few weeks later, the perambulator was discovered at midnight, standing by itself in a remote corner of Bayswater. But the baby was not there. Prism, where is that baby?
Lady Bracknell, I admit the shame that I do not know. I only wish I did. On the morning of the day you mentioned, I prepared as usual to take the baby out in its perambulator. I had also with me a somewhat old but capacious handbag, in which I had intended to place the manuscript of a work of fiction that I had written during my few unoccupied hours. In a moment of mental abstraction, for which I never can forgive myself, I deposited the manuscript in the bassinet and placed the baby in the handbag.
But where did you deposit the handbag?
Do not ask me, Mr.
Miss
Worthing.
Prism, I insist upon knowing where you deposited the handbag that contained that infant.
I left it in the cloakroom of one of the larger railway stations in London.
Which railway station?
Victoria, the Brighton line.
Gwendolen, everybody, wait for me here. I must retire to my room for a moment.
What do you think all this means, Lady Bracknell?
I dare not even suspect, Dr. Chasuble. I need hardly tell you that in families of high position, strange coincidences are not supposed to occur.
Uncle Jack seems strangely agitated.
I wish he would arrive at some conclusion.
The suspense is terrible. I hope it will last.
Miss Prism, is this the handbag? The happiness of more than one life depends upon your answer. Examine it carefully before you speak.
It seems to be mine. Yes. Here is the stain on the lining caused by the explosion of a temperance beverage. And here, on the lock, are my initials. The bag is undoubtedly mine. I am delighted to have it so unexpectedly restored to me. It has been a great inconvenience being without it all these years.
Miss Prism, more is restored to you than the handbag. I was the baby you placed in it.
You?
Yes. Mother!
I am unmarried.
Unmarried? Oh, I don't deny that is a serious blow. But after all, who has the right to cast a stone against one who has suffered? Cannot repentance wipe out an act of folly? Why should there be one law for men and another for women? Mother, I forgive you.
Mr. Worthing, there is some error. There is the lady who can tell you who you really are.
Lady Bracknell, I hate to seem inquisitive. Could you kindly inform me who I am?
You are the son of my poor sister, Mrs. Moncrief, and consequently Algernon's elder brother.
Algy's elder brother? Then I have a brother after all. I knew I had a brother. I always said I had a brother. Gwendolen, dearest.
My own. But what own are you? What is your Christian name now that you've become someone else?
Good heavens, I'd quite forgotten that point. Aunt Augusta, at the time when Miss Prism left me in the handbag, had I been christened already?
Every luxury that money could buy, including christening, had been lavished on you by your fond and doting parents.
Then I was christened, that's settled. Now, what name was I given? Let me know the worst.
Being the eldest son, you were naturally called after your father.
Yes, but what was my father's Christian name?
I cannot at the moment recall what the General's Christian name was.
Oh.
But I've no doubt he had one.
Algy, can't you recollect what our father's Christian name was?
My dear boy, we were never even on speaking terms. He died before I was a year old.
His name would appear in the army list of the period, I suppose. I have a copy here on the bookshelf. Let me see. M. Markby, Migsby, Mobbs. Here it is, on Crete. Lieutenant 1840, Captain, Lieutenant Colonel, Colonel, General 1869. Christian names. Ernest! John. I always told you, didn't I, Gwendolen, that my name was Ernest? Well, you see, it is Ernest after all. I mean, it naturally is Ernest.
Ernest. My own Ernest, I felt from the first you could have no other name.
Gwendolen, it's a terrible thing for a man suddenly to find out that all his life he's been speaking nothing but the truth. Can you forgive me?
I can, for I feel that you are sure to change.
My own one.
Dr. Chasuble.
Miss Prism, at last. Cicely, at last.
Darling.
Gwendolen, at last.
Darling.
My nephew, you seem to be displaying signs of triviality.
On the contrary, Aunt Augusta, I've now realized for the first time in my life the vital importance of being earnest.
The curtain has fallen on the Theatre Guild on the Air production of The Importance of Being Earnest by Oscar Wilde, sponsored by the United States Steel Corporation, starring John Gielgud as John Worthing. Other members of the John Gielgud Company included Pamela Brown as Gwendolen, Robert Fleming as Algernon, Margaret Rutherford as Lady Bracknell, Jane Baxter as Cicely, Jean Cadell as Miss Prism, John Kidd as the Reverend Chasuble, Richard Wordsworth as Lane, Stringer Davis as Merriman. And now here is Roger Pryor with a word about next week's play.
Next week, ladies and gentlemen, the Theatre Guild on the Air presents the glamorous motion picture star Jean Tierney in The Age of Innocence by Margaret Ayer Barnes from the novel by Edith Wharton. Featured with Miss Tierney are Arthur Kennedy of the current Broadway success All My Sons, Estelle Winwood, and Cyril Richards. So be sure to listen next week to Jean Tierney in The Age of Innocence.
Remember, next week, The Age of Innocence, starring Jean Tierney. And remember, too, that the trademark of United States Steel, USS, on any steel product is your guide to quality steel. The Theatre Guild on the Air is under the supervision of Teresa Helburn and Lawrence Langner, with Homer Fickett, director, Carol Irwin, production executive, and Armina Marshall, executive director of the radio department. Music was composed and conducted by Harold Levy, and the play adapted for radio by Arthur Aaron. Your announcer is Norman Brokenshire. The United States Steel Corporation hopes that you'll be with us next Sunday at the same time.